Welcome.
Hello,
story
everybody.
How you doing? You good?
I'm great. Sorry, I was like,
I'm
are you
good.
talking to them? Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you
What are you doing?
and these guys. Hope you're doing well. Sing off in comments or whatever you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's enjoy another great episode. Why
And
don't
I hope by episode 5 you've given us a brisk 5 stars with a great review
brisk 5 stars
and followed
Certainly
and
brisk.
everything like that. Because, you know, if you think we deserve it.
Yeah, if you think we deserve it, give us a 5 stars. Anyway, but this is episode number 5, so
Yeah.
which we're having a little trouble with the intro music. Apparently that's copyright. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, had to change that. So there was no intro music in the last episode
We'll figure
for
it
some
out.
listeners. I think YouTube kept it.
Really?
Spotify. No, YouTube didn't get it. Spotify got it. I don't
Okay.
know. I was all over the shop.
That's all right. We'll figure out like who, if any of my friends, or we can make a little
Yeah.
jingle for our intro music.
Or if you have music that you want to be played on our show
as our intro music.
as our intro music, give us the rights to it.
That'll be so
and
much fun.
We'll have it on. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
We could like review the song or something.
That'd be cool.
That would be sick. Anyway,
So today's good versus bad.
good versus bad. Straight into it.
Starter off. I only have a good. I have 2 goods.
You have
Been
two
a
goods.
good
A good
week.
and a good.
A good and a good.
A good, the good, and the ugly.
A good and a good
We all
and
know
a good.
that movie.
A good and a good and a good.
Good and the good and the good.
That could
What's
be
your
like
good-
a rhyme.
Yeah. What is your good?
I am currently 65% of the way through of reading The Trial of the Sun Queen, and it is pretty good. I explained this to Jay earlier today with my book. It's pretty much like fantasy The Bachelor, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot.
And why is that? Why is it The Bachelor?
Just the premise of the book, like I don't want to spoil anything just in case someone's listening that hasn't read it but wants to read it, but like basically the female main character finds herself in a position where like this fantasy kind of court hold trials where like 10 girls get to compete and win these trials and everything with the king to become the next queen.
Right.
But the part that makes it like The Bachelor is that the king can spend time with these girls and like request them to come for dinner and will like pretty much date all of these girls at the same time while they're also competing in deadly trials to become queen.
And
Because
what?
they also get powers when they're queen.
And so he's trying to
Figure out who he likes.
who he likes to be the queen.
Yeah, but like ultimately it's not fully his choice because they have to get through the trials, one.
Yeah.
And then they also have to like stand in front of this all-knowing mirror who will will choose the queen.
Right.
So like apparently it takes it into consideration.
Hmm.
But like, you know,
Yeah.
but I'm just
So-
enjoying the like bachelor-ness of him going on dates and like having favorites plural and everything
Yeah.
like that. Because like, yeah, one of the lines that I read today was she was like, he'd said that she was one of his favorites and she goes, I'm not sure whether I should be happy that I'm in the favorites or the fact that the favorites is plural.
Ooh.
And I was like, ooh,
Drama.
I would hate that.
It really is.
Like
So
if someone kissed me and I know they're just going to go to another room and kiss someone else, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. What was...
So
I think something just fell down in our kitchen. You wouldn't have heard that.
you
but
wouldn't have heard that, but we just heard a magnet
just
fall
to
off our
bring you into
fridge.
the room, it sounded like clack, clack, clack.
Clack, clack, clack.
The ghosts are here.
And my other good was we printed off some wedding photos.
Yeah, we
finally,
did. They're right here.
they're
Again,
off
you can't
screen.
see them,
You
but
can't see them, and
they're
if
in
you're
the rest
listening,
of the podcast studio,
when
which
you-
is a studio. It's not our lounge room.
Yeah,
That'd be so funny just to be like, oh, behind here there's 60 crew members.
it is a 2-man crew.
Yep.
But yeah, so we printed off some beautiful wedding photos, and I've decided that I'm just gonna make like an album for the rest of our photos to go in and make
Which
a
sounds
cute
pretty
little
good.
album. Yeah, because that's what we did for our guest book, remember?
Yeah, it should
Our
be pretty
guest
cool.
book, I made photos for over the 10 years that we've been together. And in that, anyone could sign their name and write messages to us. I made sure there was plenty of white space. And it actually worked out really well. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. But yeah, those came out really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like rude to be staring at the photos and being like, they look so nice when you guys can't see them.
Yeah, no, you can't see them. And even
We
if you're an
might-
audio listener, we can't really we can describe them to you. They're very pretty.
They're very pretty.
And
One's
have-
black and white, 2 are colour. There's 3.
There you go. Thank you very much.
If we want to, we'll take a photo. We can take a photo of them and upload them somewhere so you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, maybe there's, who knows?
We probably should make like an
don't know
Instagram
if I can be
account,
bothered for that.
like some sort of social media for this podcast.
All right, one
If we
day
want to.
in the future, if there is an Instagram account
If it exists.
of ours, it will be in the description and you will be able to find it.
Okay.
So maybe, who knows? But it ain't going to be when this is up. So,
No.
but anyway,
What's your good versus bad?
my good versus bad. So, again, I don't know. Bads are hard to come up with. Whether we're just
Yeah.
too
Just little
optimistic?
things, maybe like little inconveniences
I mean,
that just like kind
like-
of irked you a little bit. Oh, I have a bad. You were washing your car today, and you got me wet on the inside of the
Yeah.
car when you were spraying the water.
Yeah, the Jeep's not too waterproof,
because
is it?
it's a soft top, so it just had it. I was
It just
wet.
went straight through the door sill. Bless your heart and soul. We're going to keep that in. That's funny.
goodness.
Anyway.
What's your good versus bad?
I don't have a bad. Maybe the TT ended.
Oh,
I
he's sad.
have been following that closer than ever this year. And at the start of it all kicking off, like I watched the race that goes before it. We talked about a little bit about this on the last episode, but TT's like a crazy race. If you don't know what it is,
Yeah.
Isle of Man, nuts, motorbike race. Anyway, so I watched the race that comes up before that, which is called the Northwest 200, and seen one of the guys. He actually had a bad stack in it.
Ooh.
But I was like, I want to go for that guy because he crashed,
Right.
which is pretty funny.
Redemption.
Anyway,
Redemption.
yeah, I don't know. He just looked quick, and I know he's been getting there the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, Davey Todd, he's the man. He kicked it out with 2 wins. Super
He
stock.
sounds like a pirate.
He does sound like a pirate.
I
very
love it.
quiet
That
pirate.
I would vouch for him. No. Just his name sounds like a pirate.
Oh, Davey Todd.
Davy Todd.
Davey Todd's locker.
Oh, the curse
Arr.
of Davy Todd
The-
is what my brain goes to. I said this to you earlier today when we were watching it
Yeah.
because, like, me knowing nothing about TT and Isle of Man,
Mm.
and you asking me who to go for over the last, like, today after the last 2 weeks of watching you talking about it,
Fangirl.
I was like, David Todd.
David Todd. David Todd's
100%.
locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other rider, Jackson Sparrow. That would be really fun. No, but yeah, he ended up winning like 2 races, and I'm stoked for him.
What I found really interesting was in that last race, what was that called? The super stock? Is that what it
The
was?
seniors.
The
senior
senior
TT?
Sorry, the senior TT.
Yeah.
2 of the big contenders didn't finish the race.
Didn't finish it.
So
Spoilers.
yeah, sorry, spoilers.
Sorry.
But also if this is like it's already been.
It's
so,
got to be. So
yeah.
you kind of lost out.
But the thing that I found funny was one of them pulled off because of a failure or something.
Mm.
So wasn't injured, didn't crash or anything like that, which is good. But
Yeah.
they stopped right out the front of the pub and they actually went
Oh.
into the pub.
Yeah, that was the one that crashed.
Oh, was that the one that crashed?
That was the one
Okay.
that crashed.
So one of them crashed and the commentators were like, oh, he's crashed right out front of the pub. And then he's gone inside.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, I don't think he'd be able to buy a beer. He wouldn't have a card on him. And then they were like, I don't think he'll need
Did
a
I
card.
show you his crash?
No, but you can show me later because it's not
Okay.
like they can watch.
Yeah, you guys can
Yeah,
watch it.
but you should look at it. We can
Yeah.
put the link to the crash in the.
But he crashes like
Description
straight
or
into the
something.
wall and then like gets up, starts walking away, and then I guess went to the pub and sent everyone a photo, or like someone sent a photo to the commentators of him in the pub.
Yeah,
I never seen it, but they
that's
mentioned
so
it. They were like,
funny.
"Oh, we just got a photo that he's in the pub, so he's
Yeah.
all right."
yeah. I think that is so funny, and it's
Yeah.
just so Isle of Man, like
Yeah, it is.
you know,
yeah.
because it's like you ride past the bakery and the pub and all of these
Literally.
places that like you were telling me about how if you time it wrong as a pedestrian going into like the bakery to pick up some bread and you and then
Getting stuck in there.
and then they keep you in there because they're about to have all these bikes.
That
go
was
past.
my hypothesis. Yes, that could happen to someone.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has.
I'm sure it has. Like someone's like, oh, I'll put this on and then I'll quickly just duck and go get some rolls for the rest of the lunch or something, and then get stuck there
for an hour waiting for this race to go past
while their food is
because you can't walk on the
going
track.
cold at home because they thought it was going to be a 2-minute trip to the bakery.
Yeah. I'll quickly get the rolls before the TT starts so I can make lunch for the lads.
Yep.
And then you get
Timed
stuck in
wrong.
the bakery because the TT started. That would be so good.
I feel like that'd be so funny. What a story that would be to like tell.
Yeah.
Like you would have never have guessed what just happened.
But it's funny, like there's heaps of stories historically with that, right? I know we don't want to make 2 episodes talking about it, but I'll add this in quick.
Yeah.
There's been historically there's been like crashes and stuff that people have crashed straight into the pub. Like into the pub or into the bakery. Yeah, just nuts. But
you reckon that's in their insurance?
Oh, it's got to be something because
Like-
it's held by the island itself.
Yeah, like it surely it'd be in their insurance. Like they'd be able to claim TT
accident proof.
Yeah, like they would be able to claim that
Yeah.
on their insurance.
Which is so funny because I think one of the major sponsors for their thing this year was an insurance company. Like
Oh
one
my
of
God, that's so
Isle of
funny.
Man's biggest insurance companies.
Stop it.
So yeah, probably. I hope so.
Wow. So you're going to tell me.
That was my good.
I love that. Do you have a bad?
My bad, yes. My bad is
Oh.
actually another topic that we're going to talk about. Was I went back to watch
Oh, yes. Okay.
a movie and it sucked, but it was good. I remember it being good.
So this is going to be like the main topic of today's
Yeah, we're going to
podcast
talk
is
about this.
is childhood movies that were so good when you were a kid, and then when you rewatch them, they're
just
either
Shit.
absolutely terrible or they still hold up.
Yeah.
Like there's a few that
There's definitely
I've
a lot
gotten
more.
a couple.
It was
Like,
kind of
I've-
hard. It was kind of hard to find bad ones. So.
Yeah. So there's a few that are bad, and then others that like you have a newfound appreciation watching them as an adult of all this stuff that you did not remember happening when you were a kid because it all just went over your head.
Yeah.
Like those true family movies.
True.
You're like family films. Like it's
Home
not-
Alone in that.
no. I mean like family films where they've got the perfect balance of kid jokes, kid humor, adult jokes that go straight over the kid's head so the whole family can enjoy the film is what a family movie is.
Yeah.
You know, like it
Pacifier.
100%.
Nice.
Do you know about me in that movie? Is that why you mentioned it?
Yeah, kind of.
When I was a kid, me and my sister had bunk beds and I was on the top bunk and I had a little Barbie TV hooked up in my bed on like my shelf.
Yeah.
And every single night to go to sleep, I would watch The Pacifier.
With the turtle and the panda and the roll over something.
100%.
Yeah.
I think my sister literally hated me. Sorry. But
she hated you watching that. Yes.
well, no, she hated me for a lot of things at that age.
Yeah,
I was
right.
a very annoying 5 years
That's
younger.
sisterly love.
Yeah, like I was 5 years younger and we had to share a room. Like I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And my sister, who was like 9 or 10, sharing a room.
Yeah.
No wonder she moved out into like the back study area as
No,
a bedroom
exactly.
just to have her space. Like I would have too if I was in her position. But
That's funny.
The Pacifier, a great movie.
Pacifier was good. Still holds up.
Yeah.
I'll say that still holds up.
Yeah.
Family.
But yeah, before we get into like the bulk of the topic for the day though, you wanted to tell me about like a game show contestant thing. Can you tell
there was
me
that
this
as well.
story?
All right, before we get into the movies and my bad experience, game show hosts. So, not hosts. Game show cheaters
Contestants,
and
yeah.
contestants.
That like hacked the game.
So yeah, we've all wanted to jump on a game show and like win it, right?
Can I just guess? Is this game show The Price is Right?
No.
Have you heard about?
That's
The Price is
another
Right
good
guy?
one. Maybe we'll talk about that next episode. We'll talk about the Price is Right cheater next episode. Wasn't even a cheater. It was a good one. That's a good one as well. This
Yeah.
is very similar.
Okay.
Very similar. So this guy's name's Michael Larson. Michael Larson? I want to say it's Michael Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Larson. All right. In 1984, he jumped on a game show called Press Your Luck or Press for Luck, something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, there's like, imagine like a giant TV and there's the Go-Go Stop.
Another great show.
Yeah, another great show that still holds up. No. And there's like these, I want to say like 8 boards that go around in a square.
Yeah.
and there's lights that flash on top of each TV in this box in an odd sequence. And the idea is you've got to press the button to stop the light. It stops it, and whatever board it lands on, you get that amount of money.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And you keep going. But if you accidentally press it on one of the boards and it flips over and it's a whammy, it means you lose. You lose all of the money you've earned and you're kind of kicked off the game show. Essentially, that's like the basic premise.
Okay.
It got cancelled in like 1992.
Yeah,
so
right. Okay.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Or 1986, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. Anyway, this guy recorded every single episode on his VHS.
Right.
And spent nights like watching the game. Each contestant would go, he'd work out what the boards are, he'd work out the sequence. He worked out there was like 4 different sequences of the way the lights goes.
Oh my God, so he just learnt this game.
And so he would sit there and then like play it and pause on his TV remote, like when he thinks you should go. And then he would check the next one and be like, oh, this is how much I would have won, or sort of thing.
Wow.
So he plays it at home or whatever in his VHS. And then he gets a spot on the show. They set him up. Now it's 1984. So when we talk the money, it's 1984. So it's
Inflation.
a lot more now.
Inflation.
Yeah. So he goes on there and he starts playing, starts pressing for luck. From the get-go, he's like,
on it.
Boom, on it. And he never gets a whammy for like 100 and something shots. He ends up making $115,000. His like score racks up to $115,000.
Oh my goodness.
And the producers are going like, what the hell? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, the host is trying to like play it off as like, oh my God.
Because he'd worked out they just always use the same 4 sequences. And he worked out that in 2 corners, there was never going to be a whammy. So he would always land it in those corners.
Oh my goodness.
And when I tell you like this guy was on fleek for this game, like he was into it. He was like screaming every time he presses the button. He's like head up in the sky and he's just like, stop. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Stop it.
Yeah, well that's what he was saying.
So good.
He was like, stop it. Like, boom.
Making sure like they didn't like
made sure it doesn't keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, so like didn't delay it to try and make him get a whammy. Is that what he was trying to do?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So super funny. And they were like, they didn't want to give him the money or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I don't know if he told them in the end, but it's like, he'd learnt how the game was played. So then they changed out how the board works and all this.
Yeah.
So he walked away with, like 115,000.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever. Which was super cool. So he hacked the game show. Side quest of this guy. At the end of that year, he heard a radio show was doing a $1 bill note like challenge. So they were giving away 30 grand if you had the $1 note with a certain digit on it, a really big like American station. So he got out $50,000 of $1 bills, and he's searching through them all. Searches through 50,000 $1 notes.
Oh my goodness!
And he didn't have the bill, so he goes to a Christmas party. He's like, "I'll put this at home." Goes to a Christmas party. Burglars come through, ransack his house, and steal the $50,000.
No way.
Yeah, which you feel kind of bad for him, like he wasted his earnings like that. But then it turns out he like scammed a bunch of people for millions and millions of dollars, like later on in his life.
Oh my goodness!
But then he died of throat cancer, so it makes you feel bad for him again. This Michael Larson guy.
This guy is just like a flip flop.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness! That story there just reminded me of a video that I watched where the chase, like the game
question
show
answer.
Yeah. So it's like question answer, and you beat like the like mastermind high IQ person.
Yeah.
There was a prank show that they put someone on the chase with an earpiece in and fed them which one it was going to be before it went like the question. So they were like, "Oh, press B," or "Oh, just wait until the very, very last second and then press C." And like we're pretty
on
much
the chase.
playing. They were playing the host. Like the prank was on the host.
Oh, okay.
So the prank was on the host. So the contestant was fake, had an earpiece in, was getting all the information. The person, the high IQ person at the top that he was versing, also aware, had an earpiece in. But the host and his reactions to this person winning and like because they'd make it out and be like it was a complete guess. They'd be like, "Oh, I don't know which one to choose," and it'd be like the last few seconds, and this was like the final one to win. The final one to win, and he's sitting there going, "Choose one, like he's freaking out, being like, "Choose one," and then they'd click it, and then they'd be like, "Oh my god," because the chaser was in on it.
Yep.
Normally, how it works is like the middle amount of money in the board is what they earned by answering questions.
Yep.
And then the chaser like lowballs them an offer so they can make one place safer, and only has to answer like 3 questions correct to not be chased, or they can highball them an offer to lose a spot and have to answer more questions to be safe, and it's riskier.
Okay, yeah.
And because the producers and the chaser and the contestant were all in on it, the chaser highballed so high an amount that had never been done before that the host was questioning what was going on when the chaser said it. Like he literally, like you can see
It's like, are you sure you can do that?
You can see him look over to the producers to be like, is that number right? Like,
are we allowed to do that much?
Yeah.
How much? Do you know how much it was?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was a prank anyway,
but it was huge amount. Like it was like over 50K more than what like the middle. Like,
is this and is this the UK chase?
It's the UK one.
So it's pounds. So like 50,000 pounds.
With that guy, and I beg you to look up that video of like the UK chase prank on the host and watch it, because his reactions are like genuine and like awesome in a normal episode, but then like putting him into this situation is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. Every time I scroll past it, I stop and watch. It's one of those videos that it just brings me so much joy to watch his reactions.
It sounds like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just made me think of that with the
That's
game
funny
show
as,
contestants. I feel like we could talk forever about game shows.
Yeah, we definitely got to.
So cool.
We've definitely got to do the Price is Right one next time. I'll learn a bit more about that. But
yeah,
I had to talk about that Michael Larson one. It's super. Like I just found it so funny, and then as I was reading through it, I was like, "No, I got to mention those side quests because you feel bad for him, and then you're like, oh wait, he scammed like 144,000 people,
and then you feel bad.
And then you feel bad for him because he got throat cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. But yeah.
All right, so for the main
event. The main event. Talking about the main event.
Bam, bam, bam. I was going to do the actual thing, but I didn't want to be copyrighted of the... Because I would do it perfectly in pitch, and it would probably be like flagged.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We're going to get more copyrights because she's singing theme songs. Well, can I talk about mine? Because mine is the main event.
Okay, so I have... What?
It's my bad experience. It's about the main event.
Okay, so I have a couple, but you do your one first. Do you only have one?
I meant the main event because it's boxing. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't even think you know the movie I'm talking about. I told you about it though.
I don't think I've watched this movie that you're telling me about.
All right, my bad. Going back to the very beginning of the episode, my bad for the good bad was Real Steel.
Yeah, I've never watched that.
The movie Real Steel with Hunk Jackman in it.
I didn't know Hugh Jackman was in a...
Hunk Jackman was in it.
Boxing movie?
Yeah.
Really?
It's a boxing movie,
like
but...
pre-Wolverine?
It's robot boxers. They're robots.
Is it like pre-Wolverine?
When was Wolverine? Do you mean like the old school Wolverine? Oh, no. This is like 2011.
Oh, so this is like
in
the middle of him being
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Like I was like probably start of high school, whatever.
Gotcha.
This was... And I remember seeing it at the movies going, that was sick. Like going home, probably punching the shit out of my brother or something. I don't know. Just what you do. But this Real Steel movie, robots box, and Hugh Jackman is like, he was a boxer.
Yeah.
And then now he fights the robots. Anyway.
Oh,
so after losing a bunch of fights, underground fights, he's like living out of a dump truck basically because he has all these money that he's borrowed and people want to come after him and bash him.
Yeah.
I worked out his character, which I think his name is like Charlie Kenton or something, is the worst movie character of all time.
That's a
He
big
sucks.
claim. That is a big claim.
His character sucks.
In what way? Like,
Well,
you can't cheer for him, or it's just not underdeveloped, or what?
you can't cheer for him, and then after about half an hour, you can predict everything he's gonna do.
Oh.
So I'll set the stage for
Wait,
it.
but is that just because we did media in school and we like are very
No.
aware, or is it just obvious?
Maybe I just didn't pay attention the first time I watched it because I was like, oh, these are sick robots, and the CGI is done really well. Like
right.
The movie's good,
So it holds up that way.
but the characters suck. Yeah.
Oh.
At least the CGI is good. We'll talk about some later that maybe fit on that list. So he's down in the dumps, whatever. He buys this one. Oh no! So he buys all these robots and keeps breaking them. He like always double downs on his bets, and he's like, "What if we make it through the first round and you owe me double or nothing?"
Right.
Always does that, and then gets his ass kicked every time. And then he gets this call, and it's like, "Hey, you've got a son, and his mum's died." And then
Plot twist.
which mind you, it's not even a call. Like these people that come up to him and say that, and he punches one of them in the face, thinking they're trying to come after his money. That's how he rolls.
Right.
Hunk Jackman is the puncher, dude. Like, so anyway, his son Anakin Skywalker comes in. He looks like Anakin Skywalker, and he's a genius like Anakin Skywalker. He's like, turns out he loves this robot boxing
I don't
stuff.
know about Anakin Skywalker being a genius.
Well, Lil Annie, little pod racer Annie
Okay.
from the first film.
Sure. Yeah.
It's literally him, just dropped in. His character was just dropped in the movie. It's not even him. It's just a guy who looks the exact same.
Oh my god.
And he's a genius with like robots and shit. Anyway, he comes in. Turns out he loves this sport that his dad does. And the dad just couldn't care. Like first of all, he sells his son to the son's auntie. They're like, hey, we want to adopt him. And the dad is like, give me $100,000.
What?
And then so they give him $100,000, but he has to take care of him for the summer because they're going to Italy. And the son's like, why couldn't I go to Italy? Finds out his dad does this robot boxing, and he's like, all right, maybe I'll hang out with my dad. But he knows that he's been sold. The first thing he says to his dad was $50,000. That's it. Like, that's all you got for me. So weird.
Oh my goodness.
Literally. So just like Annie, he gets sold off as a slave to his father. Anyway, then so his son's a genius, and the dad is just like so they go to their first fight. He spends all that money straight on a robot to box, and then the son's like, you shouldn't fight this robot. It's crazy difficult to fight. He's like, no, shut up, kid. What happens? The robot dies. And from that point on, you can go, all right, every single time the kid says something, the dad's going to disagree with it. And every time it turns out exactly as the kid said, the dad's going to be like, you were right.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah, which in the end doesn't even happen because he ends up saying like, oh, it's a team effort. Yeah, it's me and you. And the kid's like, bro, I came up with that idea. He's like, yeah, team effort.
Oh, wow.
Like, I just turned out he's like the worst, most scumbag character.
That's a big yikes.
Yeah. So I thought that movie
Yikes.
was great. Rewatched it. Characters do not hold up, but CGI holds up
Oh my goodness.
and sucks. The whole thing sucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, that's my bad experience and
so
kicks it off for the main event.
yeah, so I did I did a bit of research beforehand to find some good ones, and I got thrown back into quite the nostalgia trip. And there's a few of these that I rewatched a couple of years ago, and I would love to now rewatch again just to confirm that they're good or bad, you know?
Okay.
So maybe this can be an exercise that we do, is looking
Maybe.
at these movies. So the first one is one that is is bad,
It is bad.
but it's almost like a cult classic.
Yeah.
So it's Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Ooh.
CGI is
Talk about CGI, yeah.
bad.
It's poopy.
It's poopy.
Like all the lava is literally orange poop.
The acting, not great.
Not great.
Like
Wait, hasn't that got the wolf from Twilight in it?
it does.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Taylor Lautner.
Edward. Edward's the other one.
No.
Team.
It's Taylor Lautner.
Oh, yeah. That guy.
Yeah, because he dated Taylor Swift and it was Taylor and Taylor. Anyways,
Tay-Tay.
that's how I know that his name. So it's got a young him in it, and he's doing the most. He's doing flips and doing his singing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the plot is just like, it's just weird.
It's just bad?
I don't know. It's not bad. It's got a really good premise of him like going into like a dream world, and all the characters are based on characters in his real life.
Yeah.
And all this kind of stuff. And he has to like save the world by saving the dream world kind of thing and all this kind of stuff. It also has like young,
Yeah, who's the girl? Isn't she someone quite significant as well?
the ice queen, the ice princess girl. She is, oh my God, I can't remember her first name. She plays Allison in Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, right. So something I
Yeah.
wouldn't-
So
But-
yeah, but it's not terrible, but it's definitely not like
it's a kids' movie.
the film doesn't hold up.
It doesn't hold up whatsoever.
It's like how the first Harry Potter CGI does not hold up.
Because was that by the same guys who did Spy Kids?
Oh, I don't know, maybe, but
I don't
Spy
know,
Kids 3 is
But
just
Spy Kids 3 has the exact same CGI.
yeah.
It's got that guy from the Marvel movie. The Eggman from Spy Kids 3 is the guy from Ant-Man. They're just the same character.
Okay,
yeah. It's just a
sorry.
meme that went around.
Yeah.
Sorry, you
I was
weren't
like,
up to date on the
who?
meme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were by the same people, but like they're very similar bad CGI style.
Yeah. So that's a bad.
That's a bad.
I've
That
got
is
a
a bad.
good, and I'd love to talk to you about it.
Do you want to do your good and then I'll see if I can relive my bad?
I've got 5 movies.
One of
to
mine's a
talk
hot take. So you go ahead.
Okay. So
Take the floor.
A good
Don't take the floor. We need
that
it.
is arguably funnier as an adult than as a kid.
Okay.
The Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat. I knew you were gonna say it.
It is.
I knew you were gonna say it. I was gonna say that as well.
well. It is so much
Cat in the Hat.
funnier as an adult
I think
than
we
as a
talked-
kid.
I think we mentioned it a few episodes ago that Cat in the Hat
It's
is
so good.
still a banger.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think some people would disagree with that, but
I think me and my friend for a really long time only communicated in like screen grabs from Cat in the Hat with the quote, like with the lines in
nice.
it
Yep.
for months in high school. Like it is so good. The comedy that he does as the Cat in the Hat is just top tier stupid funny.
It's very meme. Like I think that's why, because it's
meme,
aged with
yeah.
it's aged with kids going into meme culture.
You're right.
Cat in the Hat was made for meme culture pre-meme.
Yeah.
Wars.
And it's also like it's
Pre-meme
just so
wars,
whimsical. It brings in characters that we grew up reading about with like the Cat in the Hat and like Dr. Seuss and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And you can tell that there was such a switch between like, I think we talk about this?
We talked
the
about it.
Grinch and then the Cat in the Hat and then the switch to like the Lorax and stuff where they went animated because they were like, nope, can't do those live actions anymore.
The part we talked about though was in like episode 1 or 2. We talked about from movies that come from books, and we're like, how did
That's
they
right.
make an hour and a half movie out of a 12-page book?
Yeah.
Like technically, it's a bad depiction of the book because the book doesn't have any of that shit in it.
Yeah,
Like
you're
him
right.
getting
yeah,
a job, like getting fired or whatever, that whole scene. You're fired.
Fired.
That stuff. Like that's not in the book, obviously. So it's a bad adaptation.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just the drastic change of like the live action Jim Carrey Grinch
Yeah.
and then the live action Cat in the Hat to then go to the animated Horton Hears a Who and the Lorax and all that kind of stuff. And it's very much more kid movie than family movie.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think we've seen that big change in the last, I'd hate to say it, but like 20 years. Like
20 years.
it'd be like 15 years. Because
Yeah.
when we were kids this is aging ourselves, but from
When we were
when
kids.
we were kids, like under what, like 12 and under? So like what's that, 2011?
Yeah.
Movies pre-2011 were family films because they wanted the whole family to be able to go out to the movies and enjoy the movie.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And then Real Steel came out, and it was like, oh,
But
it's the boys.
Stop it. But the introduction to streaming services and at-home movies and all that kind of stuff coming in and becoming more popular, they didn't need to do it for the whole family anymore.
No.
They could just make a kids movie for kids where the parents could put it on and then leave. They didn't have to sit in the cinema with them. You know, like, because back in the day, you had to, if you wanted to watch a movie, unless you bought it on DVD months after it came out in cinemas, because there was none of this direct to streaming up on Netflix the day it comes out kind of situation. Yeah. It was either you seen it in the movies or you waited 3 months for its DVD release, and then you had to convince your parent to spend $20 on the movie.
What a weird process.
Right?
Yeah.
You think about that? Like, oh my goodness. Or you could convince them as a new release to get your parents to spend the money, the extra money at Video Easy to get a new release instead of the weekly movies that were like $1. To spend the $8 or whatever it was to get a new release. And my mum only did it when we had a coupon for a new release.
And then we got lucky later in the years where it was like, if you had a plug-in hard drive, like a powered hard drive that was like a terabyte, that were like $1,000. Plug in your terabyte to the wall. Yeah. Plug it into the TV and then, or plug it into the computer and then burn movies onto discs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I feel like in every family back in, 2006 to 2012.
What, there was a pirate?
There was one family member that knew how to do it.
That knew how to bootleg.
And would have to do it for the whole family.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you would put in requests. You'd give them a list and be like, hey, can you see? I strictly remember we had a folder of burnt movies. My mum probably still has them somewhere in her house.
Of just burnt.
And they're written on with a texter. And one of my favourite ones from that was Aquila and the Bee. Okay. It's about a little girl doing a spelling bee.
Nice.
Aquila. And it was so good. It had Kiki Palmer in it when she was a little girl.
Okay.
Holds up.
Nice.
It's so
That's
good.
Still a good film. That's one to add to the list.
It's so good. That's not even on my list. I just thought about it when we were talking about burnt movies.
Aquila Bee.
Aquila and the Bee. Her name is Aquila.
Oh, Aquila.
Aquila and
Aquila
and
the Bee. Aquila and the Bee.
Yeah.
That sounds like a horror film.
Yeah. Do you have one?
I do, yeah. Okay. This one, honestly, I couldn't remember it too much because I didn't actually go that ham. But it's going to be a hot take. Live action Scooby-Doo. Last time I watched it.
That's on my list.
Last time I watched it, it sucked. It sucked, I'm telling you.
That is on my list as a good.
No, hot take. It's not that good. All right, so the acting, the comedy, and like the story, it's great.
The casting, 100%.
The casting's good. The casting is
would not change
iconic.
A thing.
Yes, it's iconic.
Any other casting of Scooby-Doo is wrong.
The plane scenes and that, like Scooby is, I don't like how Scooby's animated really well, but everything else is.
It's like they spent
CGI.
all the budget on Scooby.
Yeah, because they had to, because he's in like 90% of the film.
Yeah.
And he's all the comedic relief in that. But everything else, there's even scenes with like Scooby and then something else happening. The something else, like the ghosts and stuff, will be bad CGI, and then Scooby is like really good.
So I haven't watched it in a little bit.
I'm looking at it from a production point.
Right.
Bad film.
You can also see that all of the food is fake.
Yeah, it's all plastic.
You can see, like you can tell. Especially the scene with like Scooby and Shaggy in like the kitchen scene with all the sausages and stuff.
Yeah.
All fake.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah, bad production.
There's also some things though.
No realism in this kid's movie.
Well, it's a live action though. You'd think there'd be a level of it. But another thing that I just remember with that is...
Wait, I love how we're talking about the food not looking realistic in a movie about a dog and a gang of detectives go to an island that's haunted.
To try and figure out what's wrong.
But the sausages are the thing that aren't real.
And
the spooky island...
The final villain, spoilers, is a little dog version of Scooby.
Yeah. I like how we're talking about the sausages not being real.
And their souls.
But no, the rest of it checks out.
I also like the kids' humor or the adult humor that gets put in. Like when they at the very start of the film, they zoom into like a van with smoke coming out the top of the van. Yeah. But then they go into the van and they're cooking.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Like the very subtle like
And aren't they
nuanced
listening to like
stuff.
reggae or something like da 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 da,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just think it's very subtle, perfectly nuanced kind of.
It is good
Yeah,
because
but that
they're
was on my
hippies.
list.
Yeah, that's good. That is a good one.
So I feel like I agree on you with the whole like CGI. They did very much focus on Scooby. I think the plot is all right. Like it holds up enough, especially when you watch other Scooby Doo
Yeah.
episodes and things like that. And I just think nothing can get past that casting.
I suppose honestly, it's looking back on it, it probably got ruined because we did Meteor.
Yes.
That's one of them movies that's got ruined because now that I've grown up, as a kid, I'm like looking at just the story, the funny, goofy shit that
Yeah.
Scooby does, and then you grow up and it's like, oh, now I'm looking at like the production value and the way the
How bad the green
CGI
screen
is, and
is.
how
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
that's you're a sucker for that one. Oh, that's a bad green screen. She's always saying
Or
that.
when the lighting doesn't match the
Yeah.
scene. Oh,
Well,
that is my
you're good
big
with
pet peeve.
continuity with like hair and stuff in a
Yeah.
conversation. In Peaky Blinders, there was a couple scenes where there'd be like hats going this way, and then it faces, so it's facing like the left side, and then it faces like the right side or something.
Even
You'd always pick those out.
Even in your new favorite TV show of Tires, I found a continuity error with
Tires, yeah.
with
Will.
the fact that Will is not meant to be currently working at the shop, but then his hands are in a cut scene
Yeah.
of him
Because you
picking
can
up
see
a
his
thing.
hands from a mile away.
You can tell that it's his hands, and you didn't catch it. And I
I
was
didn't
like,
catch it.
I was
No.
like, that's Will's hands, and you're like, hang on, what? And you had to rewind it and watch it again to catch it.
What comes up for like half a second, and you're like, that's not meant to be in there. I was like, what the hell? I didn't even see the half a second of Will's hand grabbing a piece of paper
It's so
when they just talked about he got fired.
spoiler.
Oh, spoilers. If you haven't
Spoilers
seen
for
it by now, you
Tires.
should have already seen it twice.
Dude, it's so good. But yeah, like I think because we did meter in year 10, year 11, and year 12.
Yeah.
We did it all three. So we had 3 years of picking apart films and learning about the film industry and learning about how films are made and all that kind of stuff and making our own and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's genuinely ruined the movie experience for me. When we watch movies, you can't turn off that part of your brain that analyzes it.
That's trying to work out how they made it. How did they do this?
So you can be thoroughly engrossed in a movie, and then they do one thing that takes you out of it because they're like, it's a bad cutscene or it's a bad green screen or whatever, and you can be like, oh my god, why did they do that? Yeah. So I think honestly, the cutscenes and stuff like that, continuity is such a big thing. I can see it anywhere. Same with like how lighting doesn't work or like whatever. But I think that's also why we enjoy watching movie commentary things on YouTube. Like I love watching Dylan Is in Trouble, Trin Lovell, all that kind of stuff. And like your internet mum Ash, she's great. They do like movie commentaries on
Is that plugging
movies
your
and
channel?
series. No, this is just another girl
Your
who's named
internet mum.
Ash. It worked out really well.
Okay.
And I love looking at things and watching them commentate on movies that I've also watched, so I can be like, oh my god, I picked up on that too. Or, oh my god, I didn't pick up on that. How crazy, you know? And it's just that community is so crazy.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mainly like the history buff ones. There's a history buff channel that does it of like war films or whatever.
Things that they got wrong, things that they got right. Yeah. I've watched a couple of, especially on costuming as well. Like,
Costuming, yeah.
Yeah, like I know one of the most popular ones is the new Little Women that came out in like 2019.
Okay.
They the costuming for that was not accurate
Wasn't
for the
accurate.
time period at all.
Okay.
But yeah, not going too much into that. That can be a whole
That's a whole
episode.
other episode, literally. Yeah, just
yeah.
historical bluffs on.
Do you have another? I have 2 more then, seeing as you had Scooby-Doo as well.
I've got one, but I don't actually remember it that much because I barely watched it as a kid.
Okay.
And I remember watching it with you a few years ago.
Okay.
But it wasn't until we watched, it was when I'm talking a few years ago, I'm talking like
2016.
Yeah, like
when we were like 17.
literally, yeah.
Okay.
But rewatching it again, I was like, I've definitely seen it, but I couldn't even remember it as a kid. But Cats and Dogs,
Yes.
with the cats and the dogs, and they got the weird
And they're
faces that
talking
talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucked.
It went into like Uncanny Valley kind of
Yeah.
situation.
It was 2001, so I guess production wise, I can be like, hey, that actually looks pretty good for 2001 to make the dogs and stuff look like they're talking.
I
But
actually think I had that on VHS.
yeah, we definitely watched it at your place. But anyway,
We
I
must
don't know.
have found it on a streaming service and went, oh my God, and like wanted to
Yeah.
live nostalgically for a
It turns
little
out I'm not the only one. Like, I had to look up the movie, and then the first thing that came up was like a Reddit post that said, remember that stupid movie about cats and dogs? I think it's called Cats and Dogs. It sucked. Like, that was the Reddit
Oh
post.
my goodness.
So it turns out I'm not alone. So that's why I
That's
added it to my list. That's the only reason. I was like, I remember that movie being
There's
crap.
so many of those that you completely
Yeah.
forget about, but when you see something written about it or whatever, it just all is in your brain again.
Yeah, but I wrote in like Dog Spy Hotel movie, and it came up with that post. So
oh my goodness.
I don't know. Was it? Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So my next good is The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good animated movie.
Yeah.
But also, like, the story's great. The shenanigans are great. The breaking the fourth wall where he, like, pauses it to, like, show the map and, like, draw on
Yeah.
it. Like,
That's so true.
the innovation with the fact that the way it depicted a kid's movie was great. It also had, I don't know, like, there was a few key actors and actresses that in this 2000 to 2010 period were all over every movie.
Mm.
Every movie. Like, they were everywhere. And one of them was Patrick Warburton. So
Who's that?
you may not recognize his name, but he was Kronk
Okay.
in Emperor's New Groove. He was Ken, which was the human in the B movie. And he was also tying in perfectly, as I said, he was everywhere, to my final movie.
What's your final movie?
My final movie, he was in Hoodwinked.
Oh my gosh.
So he was the wolf in Hoodwinked. He was Wolf W. Wolf was
Dude,
the wolf's name.
One of the guys from work who's also named JD, but we
I
have been talking about this all
loved-
week.
Really?
Yeah, they watched it this week and we were talking about
I
that movie.
loved Hoodwinked as a kid.
Yeah.
The animation was not great. It was like, it reminded me of like what you would get on like, you know when KFC did those movie discs, like the
Yeah.
short movies as the like kids meal prize?
Yeah.
That's the quality that it reminds me of. It is so good.
Dude, Hoodwink does slap.
So Hoodwinked is like a play on a lot of classic fairy tale situations like Little Red Riding Hood and stuff like that. And I actually got up the synopsis because it's so funny. I love it. So it says, sorry, I'm just going to get to it. Okay, so it says, the candy recipes of the goodie shops have been stolen by the goodie bandit, and many animals are out of business. While the police are chasing the criminal, there is a mess at Granny's house involving Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf, the woodsman, and Granny, disturbing the peace in the forest. They are all arrested by the impatient Chief Grizzly. Detective Nicky Flipper is in charge of the investigation, and each accused gives his or her version of the incident, and Flipper uses the information to disclose the identity of the evil goodie bandit. This is such a clever way to use such classic characters in a classic story, but rewind it into a way that makes sense, because another recent series that has just used this exact storylining is the Only Murders in the Building.
I don't know what that is.
So the Only Murders in the Building is like they're doing.
Is that a Netflix series?
Yeah. So it has Selena Gomez and the two older guys in it. The one who played Jack Frost in Santa Claus 3.
That guy.
And then
Jack Frost and
So
someone else.
Stephen something and Stephen something.
Okay. Stephen and Stephen.
Stephen and Stephen.
Stephen and Stephen, attorneys
Steve
at law.
Martin and Steve Martin and someone else. I'll think of it. But they also they have the guys that like this podcast, and they're unveiling this mystery as it happens. And like it splits between their three perspectives till you get the whole story.
Right.
The thing that's also awesome is the cast of this movie. I don't know whether you've ever actually looked up the cast of this movie.
For Hoodwinked?
For Hoodwinked.
No.
Okay, so Anne Hathaway is Red Riding Hood.
Oh, cool.
Glenn Close is the granny.
Right.
Anthony Anderson is Detective Bill Stork, who is the guy from Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, yeah.
You know the guy?
Yeah.
Tom Kenny is Tommy, and he is the voice of SpongeBob.
Oh, cool.
He is in it.
I was like, who the hell's that?
Uh-huh. Exhibit plays
Yeah,
Chief
he's
Grizzly.
the chief. I did
He's
know
the
that.
chief.
Yep.
Ken Marino is, in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that like the captain that has no idea what's going on, like Jason, that they like. He's in a couple of scenes.
Vaguely remember
He's in
it,
a couple
yeah.
of scenes. You would know his face as if I showed
Yeah.
you straight away. He is in it. And then my favorite character is the yodeling goat,
Yeah.
Japheth. His name is Japheth.
I didn't know he had a name.
So
but
it's Japheth the goat. And apparently, fun fact that I just read on their IMDb page is that in production, the producer showed like little kids some concepts for the movie and like watched the expressions of their faces, kind of like a, what's it called when they, like a round,
just like a test audience.
a test audience. Yeah. And they really liked the character of Japheth the goat, and they decided not to delete him because they were originally going to delete the character of the yodeling goat. And then also there's a few great quotes. The wolf like gets handed a lit stick of dynamite and goes, "What candles are those?" And then the little twitchy squirrel that drinks too much caffeine points at the writing on the dynamite and goes, "Dinamite, must be Italian." It's just so good.
So we talked about this at work a lot, because funny enough, the friend JD had a renaissance on this movie with his missus, and he let me know that the whole of Hoodwinked in HD, like probably more HD than what you had on DVD somehow, is on YouTube.
Yeah, the whole movie.
Dude, the whole movie is just free.
Yep, on YouTube.
I had to double check. I was like, is that real?
Yeah.
That's so funny you brought that up, because and they bought it on DVD this week. I kid you not. They got it on DVD.
This is the thing.
So it must be going around.
I watched it when I was a kid. I was obsessed with it. I found that YouTube a couple of years back, watched the whole thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was just, it just brought me back. It's such a vivid child memory of my brain, and it's just so good.
I like that it's a movie that's done in the most basic of ways. Like, I think because it was probably the start of like Universal's animation stuff,
well,
like
especially
3D.
because it came out in 2005.
Yeah.
So,
well, when you think to like, Disney already had how much of their...
Yeah, like let's have a look at like what other...
I don't know. It's good. Like story wise, it definitely holds up really well, and it was hilarious as a kid, and I'm sure it's still hilarious now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good one.
Let's go. I'm gonna have a bit of a look up. You keep talking.
I'll keep talking.
I
didn't actually have any movies, but that is very funny that Hoodwink must be going around.
Okay, so in 2005,
Yeah.
animated releases are Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Oh, that's a good one.
Movie.
That's a good one.
Hoodwinked.
Well, who knows? That one might not hold up.
Yeah, true. Chicken Little, another movie by the same company.
Chicken Little was good.
Same company.
Same company.
Same style.
All right. Now, looking at the quality of Chicken Little compared to Hoodwinked. Hoodwink is basic AF compared to Chicken Little.
I think it's the same company.
Surely not. Surely, like... Because was it Universal that did Hoodwinked? Or am I getting it wrong too?
Oh, I don't know. But also, other movies, Barbie Fairytopia, great movie.
I don't know what that is.
Robots came out the same movie. Can you remember Robots?
Robots?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Robots.
I do remember
So
Robots.
good.
Yeah.
Corpse Bride came out. Classic.
Corpse Ride, that was
Corpse
good.
Bride. Bratz Rock Angels. One of my favorites.
Don't remember that.
You wouldn't. It was Bratz. I was obsessed with Bratz. I had all of the
Hey,
Bratz
I was obsessed
movies.
with Bratz, but...
I had all the Bratz movies pirated onto DVDs as a birthday gift to me. And I also had a Bratz PlayStation.
Yep.
And it was absolutely iconic. Madagascar was also released that year.
I might be able to turn around on Hoodwinked and say, because all those other movies, they've got like a good style to them and stuff. I just remember
They're a
like the
lot more
lumberjack, all
developed.
the animation, all the walking and stuff was a bit like in my head, like as we're going through it, I'm thinking like 2005, it can probably let go of
Could
some
have
of
been
that.
great.
But
But
now that you're mentioning these other movies, like Chicken Little and that had all the dance moves and they were like real fluid.
Madagascar,
But then, Madagascar. Dude, Madagascar's the same year.
same year.
What? No, they're not. Like
Yeah.
Hoodwinked.
2005 animated movies.
Hoodwinked
Madagascar.
almost looks like 1998.
But the thing is, I'm pretty sure Madagascar was a computer animated. And then,
Well, so is Hoodwinked.
oh yeah, Hoodwinked is too.
Yeah. Wallace and Gromit might not.
Wallace and Gromit was stop motion.
Yeah.
Same with I'm pretty sure The Corpse Bride is. I'm not sure whether it's. I'm pretty sure it's stop motion as well.
Yeah.
Because it's.
Is it Tim Burton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robots, great movie.
Yeah, Robots
Absolutely
as well.
great movie.
Like robots and Hoodwinked for like pure art style and animation and like character animation are in two different freaking decades.
Also the Academy,
But they're released on the same year.
the 2005 Academy Award for Best Animated Feature was The Incredibles for 2005.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, Incredibles, funny enough.
So it probably wouldn't have been released in 2005, but it would have released the year before, which
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah, no, Incredibles is good as well. That's a great story, Incredibles.
And Winnie the Pooh's Heffalump movie. Did you ever watch that?
Can't remember it.
Oh my goodness, it was so cute. It was about a little Heffalump. And
Oh,
it was
that is
so
cute.
We had that. Yep. So
Yep.
robots, Valiant with the birds, like the bird army.
Yeah, dude, Robots, I got to watch that again because I used to play the video game of it and it probably still holds up today.
And Hoodwinked also came out the last of 2005.
The last of them.
So it was
That doesn't
end
make
of
any sense to me.
2005. I know, right?
Like, because unless that's like, who says that's the art? Oh, the art style I'm going for is bland, no shadows, low textures, Hoodwinked 2005. When you could go, I'm going to go fantastic fluid robot motions from the movie Robots.
Yeah.
I don't know, just real odd.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. When you look at it on its own, it holds up.
Definitely.
When you get past how basic the animation style is, I think the plot and the characters and all that make up for the animation style
For
and
sure.
like the animation quality. But then you put it against what else came out in 2005 and even more 2004, like The Incredibles and all that kind of thing. You sit there and you go, what? Like, do you have a quarter of the budget? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it could have been anything like that. End of the day, the story is really funny, and yeah, that goat. Thank God they kept it in. Otherwise, it would have gone from a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes to like a 20.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, it just like looking back through movies that got released in 2003, 2004, 2005 is unlocking so many more movies in my brain, and my nostalgia hit is like peaking right now.
Yeah.
Because I remember going into Video Easy on a Friday and Mum had her coupons for home releases, and we would go and pick out and we'd have to choose, do we want 2 new releases or do we want 7 weekly movies that had been out for a while? And I'm one of 3. So it was either we could decide 2 movies, new releases to watch as a whole family, or we get 2 movies each and then Mum gets to pick one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it was literally, and almost every time it was weekly movies because we wanted to have 2.
Weekly, yeah.
And then my brother would always use one for a PlayStation 1 game.
Oh, nice.
He would use one of his weeklies. But then also I remember like getting home from school and having to go past Video Easy to drop in the movies back so that we didn't get fined
Nice.
for not returning the movies, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how often we did that. We definitely did it a little bit, but
You guys were more in Magnum movies.
we
weren't
went
you?
Magnum movies, and I was terrified of Magnum movies because there was this like Scream poster
It
for
was
the movie
all
Scream.
purple in there.
No, it wasn't like yellow.
Magnum movies was yellow and purple though, right?
I think so, maybe.
Video Easy was orange.
I think we went to Magnum movies and we also like won a prize from them. Won like an Xbox and that.
Oh, really?
That was really cool. Yeah, we won like a Matrix Xbox.
That's so cool.
And it was see-through green with like Matrix game and
Dude,
all this.
that's
I
so
still play
cool.
the game on my computer. Path of Neo. It's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
No, I just remember going into Video Easy. It was right next to the train station. You'd get in your PJs with your little ugly
Yeah.
slippers and you'd go in. And I remember one of my cousins. So like my cousin's extended families, like
Yeah.
she worked there at like 16 and we used to go in there and you would know exactly who it is. And like we're still close to that family purely because we would see them.
That's pretty cool.
Every week. But they're like my auntie's like in-laws.
Yeah.
Like her sister-in-law's family. Yeah. So it's very convoluted, but
that's pretty cool.
Such a tangible memory. Whereas like kids these days are just on the TV.
Where's my Netflix? No,
on the Netflix.
Kids don't say it like that, but you know,
complaining
kids
about
get up and go watch Netflix outside.
Yeah, like not to be one of those of like, oh, my kids these days, but they just wouldn't understand the excitement of having a sleepover and convincing your mum to go to Video Easy and rent some films, but also on the very odd occasion that you convince them to buy the stupidly overpriced fairy floss at the movie.
Yeah, bruh. Damn.
Like, I don't know.
That's deadly.
It's such a deep cut.
That's like feels like a heist on your parents.
Yeah.
Like, Mum, buy the $10 fairy floss.
Or like the popcorn, and they'd be like, no, we have popcorn.
Just like, no, we spent $10 on movies. We're not going to spend another $10 on
yeah. Because like, the popcorn was like overpriced, and they'd be like, no, I went to Coles earlier this week and we bought popcorn.
Some microwavable.
Yeah. We'll microwave it when we get home.
Damn, we got some microwavable in there. I might make up some microwavable and watch Hoodwinked, I think.
Can we actually watch Hoodwinked? I would 100%.
Coming up next episode, our full review of Hoodwinked.
Full review of Hoodwinked.
Yeah. How are we feeling? We're at an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
I think we're ready.
To pop out.
All right.
I think this has been a really great chat. I would love to talk movies.
We're definitely going to talk movies more.
That's the thing. Like, so if you have any specific movies you want us to check out and like talk about on the pod, anything like that, please let us know. Like, send us a message. Put it in the comments, anything like that.
Yeah.
We really want to know because otherwise we'll just come up with stuff, which is fine.
And coming up next week, our full review of Hoodwinked. But that's been that, and just letting everyone know we are now on Spotify, YouTube, and YouTube podcasts. I guess they're going to have YouTube podcasts. We got a podcast channel on our channel.
Oh, yeah. And we've also...
Google Podcasts is gone. It's now just gone to YouTube. That's all I'm trying to say.
So, and also we're going to be weekly episodes. So it's not going to be, it's not going to be like we just did a big lump sum at the very start. So there was enough for you guys to listen to. So you weren't listening to just one episode and having to wait. So, now they'll be week to week. So if you do have suggestions and stuff, please let us know because we will have time before we record the next pod to put that in.
Yeah. So, and I also want to do some little exclusive videos.
Yeah.
So whether you want to make some as well, but where it's just one of us. Talking about something that we really like. Like, I don't know, I'm going to set up in there and probably talk Isle of Man now that it's finished.
Isle of Man. Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
Yeah, history of things, whatever. We're just going to do some fun stuff. Hopefully people like it. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed, and that's us.
We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.